In this episode, I talk about creating storytelling content with AI. Wherever you're watching this, there is a link below to my GPT I've built that you can use to test this out. Just a disclaimer for the purists listening to this, I am not advocating that you just blindly use what ChatGPT spits out. But it should help you construct something that is compelling and engaging and speed up your content production. So please feel free to use the GPT, but always edit and always stay true to who you are in what you say and post online.
Welcome to the Mindset, Marketing and Money podcast, hosted by me, Dean Seddon. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes.
Welcome back. This is a extra special episode because, well, I could tell you something, but I'm really excited about this. I wanted to share this and I thought, sod it, I'm not going to wait a week, I'm going to do it now. So one of the things that people often talk to me about is how frustrating it is that their content isn't landing. It's a major issue. And particularly as the feed is more competitive, it does kind of feel like all of the attention is going to some folk who put up, nonsense on LinkedIn. So you're there, blood, sweat and tears, putting stuff out that, is full of value, full of everything, all good stuff. And then you see somebody putting a motivational quote out and it blowing up, and it can bluntly piss you off and it can leave you quite demotivated. And this week, I've had a few people talk to me about this very thing. And I thought, sod it, I'll do a little podcast episode to talk about this because I think I've got something to say that I think will be helpful. And I'm a little bit, I don't like saying this, but I'm a little bit neurodiverse. So I find it quite difficult to get my head around certain concepts because I'm weird like that, right? But when it comes to content, and it took me a long time to get my head around this, is that if you present information to me, that's well and good and valuable, but the information becomes more valuable when I see how it relates to me. So in other words, if I can see how that information could help me, and it's spelt out for me, and I can see it's relevant for me, it becomes more valuable. And so this is where, like, a whole load of effort needs to be employed to go, how can I make my content more relatable? In other words, that the person reading this or watching this can see that, oh, this is me. They're describing me. I've had that situation too. Or that's how I felt too. So content is very much emotional engagement. And I did a blog about this on my website recently about all engagement is because it comes from a piece of content resonating. So if you think about resonating, we think about, tapping a tuning fork and the tuning fork being smashing the glass. That's exactly what you have to think of it like. You play a tune, you write a piece of content, and what you say resonates so deeply it provokes people to react to it. Like the tuning fork. Bing! It's that kind of reaction. And so some of you about now, and I've heard this saying, you have to resonate and make it more relatable. And I couldn't get my head around it. How the hell do I make it more relatable? And here's how I approach it. And I'm by no means good at this, but I'm better than most. All I do is I think about, what does my ideal client really want? What do they really want? What are their feelings about a particular topic or situation? What do they feel? And I write all of this down. And then I think, what's my stories that I've got that where I felt like that they have felt like that? What's the common ground I've got with them? What experiences have I gone through that can help me explain that point? Now, you might think, Dean, these are grown-ups. We're all dealing with grown-ups. Why do we have to do this? Because this is the way the world works. Unfortunately, people will not just read information. They want to be engrossed in it. So, like you read a book, like you watch a video or a film, you want to be engrossed in it. You want to be sucked into it. Otherwise, you're going to skip it or stop watching or stop paying attention. So, you want to basically turn your content into stories, or any way you can force people to react to your content. So think about it. Dramatic stuff works because people have a reaction to dramatic. Provocative stuff works. Emotive stuff works. Stories work because people can relate to the emotion, or it provokes or stirs up a feeling, an experience, or a shared, experience. So we've got to make our content relatable. Now, for some of you, you may think, well, how can I make that relatable? Let me walk you through something that I do. I'm a kind of person who goes, I want to say something. There's something I want to say. So often I'll have a conversation or a few conversations in the week, and I'll see people struggling with a particular thing, and I'll go, right, I'm going to post about that. I'm the kind of person who can't post about something I don't feel, and that's a pain in the ass for me. So what I'll do is I'll write down what's the key points I make. So I will literally write bullet points of things that I want to say that I think are important. And then what I do is I use ChatGPT. Yes, there's loads of other AI tools, but you don't need to keep buying more AI tools. You're probably drowning in subscriptions already. So I just use ChatGPT and I say, here's an outline of a post I want to write. How can I make it more relatable for X? And put in my buyer persona. Tell them who my buyer persona is. And I will go back and forth with ChatGPT to make that into a story or a personal experience that I've had to make it more relatable. And then I'll ask it to add more emotion, more visual storytelling. And literally I put the post in and I say, add more visual storytelling, add more emotion, make it a stronger hook. And for all you get all this clever AI, just doing that will make it work. Another tip I do here as well to make it more engaging is I tell ChatGPT that every sentence should be less than 10 words. So I'm trying to make my post more relatable. I'm trying to use storytelling, either from famous names or famous brands or my own experiences. But I start with what's the key point I want to make? What's the big important thing I want them to know and gain from this post? And then I build everything out from there. So storytelling is massively, it's a great way, a really powerful way to connect deeply with your audience. And if you're prepared and bold enough and you've got the balls to do it, tell experiences you've had that translate this message. Tell stories of experiences you've had that drive home that key point you want to make. It's so simple when you get into it. The hard part, I find, is I've got a point I want to make, and then I go, what the hell's the story? What the hell is the story for this post? I don't have to think about that because I'll use ChatGPT to literally go, okay, Dean, I want to make this point. How can I tell a story about that? Either from my own experience, from a celebrity, famous brand, famous entrepreneur, bang, and it will pull it together. And I use ChatGPT to prompt me. So most people have got this AI thing wrong, right? They're constantly chasing prompts to get things done. The best prompts you can get is when AI gives you something that spurs you to be more creative. We get this wrong. How can I make AI do things better? No. How can AI make me do it better? So storytelling, packaging up the point you want to make, the information you want to land in a story is incredibly powerful. Asking ChatGPT to make your content more relatable to X buyer persona. Sharing your own experiences, your own failures, your own setbacks, but injecting that emotion into it is massively going to help you. If you want to create these compelling posts that really draw people in, you've got to get vulnerable and use your wounds, turn your wounds into wisdom. And I've got this tattooed on my, let me check it's the right one, the left arm. On my left arm, I have this tattooed. I did a post about it a few weeks ago. I have the post, turn your wounds into wisdom. In other words, every lesson I learn, every mistake I make is an opportunity to help somebody else. It becomes a story I can use to help somebody else and connect with other people in a similar situation or facing a situation I faced. And this brings your message alive. It makes it real. It makes it tangible. People can connect with you not just through the brain and the mind, but through the heart, through the emotions. This is how we really connect with people. This is how we start to like movie franchises and plot lines and series, because one, we connect with the actors, we connect with the characters, and we connect with their story, their journey, who they are as a character. And then we connect with the bigger plot, what's actually happening, the story of the series. And in our content, we've got the information, that's the story of the series, but we wrap it up in the character, us, and our backstory, our experiences, our perspective, so that people can relate to it and engage with it. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm really excited about doing this. I've been doing it more and more and more. And what I've found, actually, in one sense, my engagement, I shouldn't say this because you probably depress you. My engagement's actually gone down, but my lead volume has gone up, which is really weird, right? But it's because of the depth of connection. So it's not about, 400 likes as I was getting. It's like I'm pushing 100. And I'm like, ooh, in that sense, my brain chemistry is going, whoa, Dean, what have you done? But the lead quality I'm getting is incredible. And the feedback from people I'm getting is incredible. So I'm achieving less, but getting way more out of it. And I love it. I'm enjoying it as well, because I get to turn experiences that I've had into something useful for somebody else. And those experiences can't be replicated. Anybody can copy your 7 tips to do X, Y, or Z, but they can't copy your journey, your experience. But it will take some guts. So just a quick reminder of what you need to do. Get a piece of paper and write down some key things, some key points that you want your audience to learn or know or understand or appreciate or see, mistakes maybe they're making, anything like that, write them down. Then what I want you to do is use one of those and go, okay, let's get ChatGPT to prompt me. Put it in and say, how can I make this problem or this challenge or this tip more relatable so that my buyer persona, and describe who they are, will see this and find it useful. And it will prompt you to put something together. You could then go onto it again and say, how can I package this up into a very visual story? And then it will put it together. And if you don't have shared experiences or you've never experienced something around that, you can actually write and ask it to use famous entrepreneurs or famous people from history to land those points. So wrapping stuff up in stories, injecting emotion, strong opinions, all of that stuff will massively improve the success of your content because people will connect with it. But this is not something you try once and go, oh, if it didn't work, I'm not doing it ever again. This is something you have to do and learn as a skill. You might have to do 20 or 30 posts to really get the hang of it. But by the time you've done those 20, 30 posts, you'll have learned all the lessons, you'll have adjusted and adapted, figured out what works, and you'll be absolutely flying. Don't be afraid to share your mistakes. Turn all those wounds into wisdom, because that is the key to connecting to your audience.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Mindset Marketing and Money Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you get notified about future episodes.